Hey everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope you're all having a fantastic day. The studio lights had always felt warm to Kelly Ripa, comforting, familiar, like a second sun she had learned to orbit. For decades, she smiled beneath them, laughed beneath them, carried the weight of millions of mornings beneath them. But on this particular day, the warmth felt different. It felt fragile, as if one wrong breath could shatter it. Mark Consuelos sat beside her, close enough that their shoulders brushed, close enough that the quiet between them spoke louder than the applause ever could. No one knew what was coming. The audience buzzed with the easy anticipation of another cheerful hour. Jokes, stories, the comfortable rhythm of a couple America had grown up with. Cameras rolled. The theme music faded. Kelly turned toward Mark with her signature grin, ready to toss him a playful comment. But Mark didn't smile back. Instead, he inhaled slowly, and everything changed. For years, the world believed it knew Mark and Kelly, the golden couple, the rare love story that didn't crack under fame. Married young, built a family, navigated careers that demanded everything and then more. Their love was a reassurance, proof that something real could survive in a place built on illusion. But love, even the strongest kind, is not immune to silence. Mark's voice trembled when he finally spoke, not enough for drama, just enough to reveal truth. "There's something I've never said out loud," he began, eyes locked on the floor. "Something I should have said a long time ago." Kelly's smile faded, not dramatically, just gently, like a sunset slipping behind clouds. She turned fully toward him, concern replacing confidence. The audience leaned forward. Mark swallowed hard. People see Kelly as unstoppable. They see the laughter, the energy, the light. And for a long time, I let myself believe that too. The words hung in the air, heavy and unfinished. "I forgot," continued Mark, "that even the strongest person gets tired." A hush fell over the room. Kelly blinked, her eyes glistening as if she suddenly understood where this was going and why he was afraid to go there. Behind the scenes of their public joy lived a quieter story, one made of early mornings and late nights, of Kelly waking before dawn to give the world her best smile, then coming home to be a mother, a wife, a constant source of strength for everyone else. Mark had watched it all, the exhaustion masked by humor, the moments when she leaned against the kitchen counter a second longer than necessary, the nights she fell asleep mid-sentence, still holding the weight of the day. And he had said nothing. "I relied on her strength," Mark admitted, voice cracking. "I leaned on it. I assumed it would always be there." Kelly reached for his hand. Her fingers trembled. The admission wasn't loud. It wasn't explosive. It was devastating in its honesty. "I didn't realize," said Mark softly, "that my silence was hurting her." The audience wasn't watching a television show anymore. They were witnessing a confession, one that peeled back years of polished appearances and revealed something raw and human beneath. Kelly tried to laugh it off as she always did. "You make it sound like I was carrying the world," she said lightly. Mark shook his head. "You were." Tears streamed freely now, from Kelly, from Mark, from people watching who saw themselves reflected in that moment, the partner who gives too much, the one who doesn't notice until it's almost too late. "I should have protected you better," Mark said. "I should have asked how you were doing instead of assuming." Kelly covered her mouth, overwhelmed not by pain, but by the sudden relief of being seen. The admission rippled outward, far beyond the studio walls.
Social media erupted within minutes. Fans who had grown up watching Kelly shared stories of their own quiet struggles. Wives who carried families. Husbands who realized, too late, that love requires listening. Partners who had mistaken resilience for invincibility. But in that room, none of that existed. Only Mark and Kelly. "I didn't need saving," Kelly said gently. "I just needed you to notice." Mark nodded through tears. "I see you now." Those 4 words, simple, overdue, changed everything. For the first time, the world understood that their love story wasn't perfect because it was easy. It was perfect because it survived honesty. Mark spoke of moments he had ignored, Kelly's rare silences, the nights she retreated inward, the way she carried everyone else's emotions like fragile glass. "I thought being strong meant not needing help," he said. "I didn't realize strength can also mean asking for it." Kelly squeezed his hand. "I didn't realize how hard it was for you to say this." That was the truth hiding beneath the tears. This wasn't just Kelly's story. It was Mark's reckoning, too. After the cameras cut, they didn't rush off stage. They sat there, holding hands, breathing through the aftermath of truth spoken aloud. Later, Kelly would admit something she had never said before either. "I didn't want to disappoint anyone," she confessed quietly. "Not you, not our kids, not the audience. So I kept going." Mark closed his eyes, the weight of that sentence settling into his chest. "You never disappointed me. I just didn't listen closely enough." That admission marked a turning point, not a crisis, but a recalibration. In the weeks that followed, fans noticed subtle changes. Kelly spoke more openly about rest, about boundaries, about choosing moments of quiet without guilt. Mark became more vocal, not as the charming co-host, but as a partner willing to stand beside her, not behind her strength. Their love didn't weaken, it deepened. One evening, long after the headlines faded, Kelly and Mark sat on their porch as the sun dipped below the horizon. No cameras, no applause, just the sound of cicadas and the gentle clink of ice in glasses. "Do you regret saying it on air?" Kelly asked. Mark considered the question carefully. "I regret not saying it sooner." She smiled, this time not for an audience, but for herself. The world loves fairy tales where love is effortless, where the right couple never struggles, never stumbles, never needs to confront uncomfortable truths. But Mark's admission shattered that illusion in the most beautiful way. It reminded everyone that love isn't proven by perfection, it's proven by courage. The courage to speak when silence feels safer, the courage to listen when you realize you haven't been, the courage to admit that even the strongest hearts need care. Kelly Ripa didn't break that day. She was finally seen. And Mark Consuelos didn't fail her. He found his way back, to her, to honesty, to a love that grows not in the spotlight, but in the quiet moments where truth lives. Sometimes everything changes, not because something ends, but because something finally begins. Long after the headlines faded, Kelly and Mark sat on their porch as the sun dipped below the horizon. No cameras, no applause, just the sound of cicadas and the gentle clink of ice in glasses. "Do you regret saying it on air?" Kelly asked. Mark considered the question carefully. "I regret not saying it sooner." She smiled, this time not for an audience, but for herself. The world loves fairy tales where love is effortless, where the right couple never struggles, never stumbles, never needs to confront uncomfortable truths. But Mark's admission shattered that illusion in the most beautiful way. It reminded everyone that love isn't proven by perfection, it's proven by courage. The courage to speak when silence feels safer. The courage to listen when you realize you haven't been. The courage to admit that even the strongest hearts need care. Kelly Ripa didn't break that day. She was finally seen. And Mark Consuelos didn't fail her. He found his way back, to her, to honesty, to a love that grows not in the spotlight, but in the quiet moments where truth lives. Sometimes everything changes not because something ends, but because something finally begins.